wait. But before we get there to talk about it, I got to tell the people like I've personally been a fan of yours for a long time. Like I don't know if yeah, y'all know back in 2011, I think it was here. It was Charlotte, North Carolina. Young Josh was
Mm-hmm.
here doing a concert. My
Mm-hmm.
had
I
invited
remember
you,
that.
open
Yeah.
up. You did that song. It was like you are holy. And I was in the back like. At the time, there was no worship song that a rap song that I heard at the time that encapsulated the heart of worship, true exaltation of the Lord, just really thirsting for His presence and just glorifying Him the way that
Mm.
you did, bro. And that I became a stalker. Like I stalked you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, can we be Facebook friends? You know what I'm saying? Before that they were sliding to the DMs, bro. I was walking into the DMs, you know what I'm saying, and asking when the song coming out? When the song coming out? When the song coming out?
I remember. Yeah.
And gracefully from there, man, I've seen you just grow, I was saying, blossom as an artist, as a husband, as a father, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying, entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying, label owner, all these other things, bro. And it's been such an awesome journey, you know what I'm saying? But it's all got us here today. So let's talk
Yeah.
about it. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? How you feel about the album?
Man, good. I'm really thankful. It's a always a weight, that releases off of you whenever you put out an album, after working on it for any amount of time, but definitely, when you've worked on it for years, So it's been really refreshing, in a blessing truly to just have it out. You know what I mean? Like whatever, come what may, just to be able to let it go, and loosen my grip over it and worrying about it and, every little detail and going back and doing stuff. And it's like, just release it, let it go, let it get out there. And not just from an artistic standpoint, but from a spiritual one as well, that being able to, obviously I released it when I recorded it, but also to let it go into the world, spiritually. I'm thankful for that, man. So I feel really great about it being out finally, and people being able to access it and us to have conversations about it.
Word. Now this album it's your second album, right? It's your second
Yeah.
official album. I
Yep.
know
Yep.
when Ravens Cry, classic 2015, classic. Then you dropped the Fighting Stance 2018. You was
Yeah.
at the time you were on Sal, you linked up with Salvation Army. You helped to executive produce a lot of those projects. Helping him
Mm-hmm.
put out the group
Yep.
project, Eshawn, Big Bro 3. I mean, shouts out to 3.
Yep. Yep.
A bunch of
Indeed.
shit, silent. I mean, now you back outside, and over that time period, you know what I'm saying? Is from Naruto to Naruto Shippuden, the way that the jump happened. I'm saying that there was a lot that occurred. We had the pandemic, we had the marches, we
Yeah.
had all of that here,
Yeah.
and some of the project touches on those themes. I mean, it's in a way that's powerful, that's abrasive a little bit to some that really
Mm-hmm.
have you check your heart and your motives. Like, was
Mm-hmm.
there any was like there any a hesitance, a
Mm-hmm.
hesitancy to putting out the project here with like such strong themes, uh, over that time? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, not yes and no. And I know that sounds like a cop out answer, but yes and no. And yes, because I'm with all of my music, I try to be very careful, and not just with my music, but with my life, you know what I mean? And the things that I say, be it on social media, lives. I try to watch the things that I say and what I do to not offend people unnecessarily. The gospel is offensive. You know what I mean? The truth is offensive. Sometimes just love itself is offensive. It don't need extra sauce from me. You know what I mean? To offend people more, and be a stumbling block for anyone. So I'm typically always like kind of careful, and so I go over my lyrics and I rewrite things as I need to. And so there's always an awareness that, hey, there's life in these words that we speak. You know what I mean? But we can also do damage and cause pain unnecessarily as well. And so there's always a caution and an apprehensiveness about what I'm doing, to make sure that what I'm saying is pleasing to God. That look, can God, when God hears this, is he pleased with this first and foremost? And if I feel like I'm right before the Father with what I'm saying in these records, then I can stand before any man, with these records as well. And so that's where the no comes in. And so the yes is like, yes, I always care, because we should care about the things that we put on wax. However, once I have done that work and put the effort in to fine tune, to refine, to make sure that it's true, it's authentic, and I'm sharing wisdom and seeking to impact and empower people and to serve with my music in an authentic way, and that I believe God is well with it, that then I can progress and move forward. You know what I mean? To say, here it is for the people as well. Knowing and understanding that it's not going to be for everybody. That some messages are not going to resonate with some people. Some people are not going to rock with the sound of it, right? But it's for who it's for. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, and wherever it finds its place in somebody's walk in life, then I'm thankful for it. If one line on one song is a seed, if one line on one song is watering a seed, God might use another song to actually bring increase in somebody's life spiritually. Either way, you know what I mean? I'm thankful for it. So that's my yes and no answer for that one.
Word. And I think it's a sometimes it's a hard thing to balance, and a lot of people shy away from, because
Yeah.
they want like people to listen so much
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
music. But when the message will draw people to conversations that they may have never had, or bring forth ideas that they never thought about, I think you're taking that risk is more rewarding than just having somebody just listen and say, "Hey, you're dope. Your music is
Yeah.
really dope." But
Yeah.
rather than, "Hey, your music caused me to love my neighbor differently because I never thought about this until I
Yeah.
heard your music." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's really important. Now in those times that you were talking about, we went over in the project, is a lot. It's weighty, it's meaty, like
Mhm.
it's like a Brazilian buffet. You keep asking for meat, you never put the card over, you know what I'm saying? Because you're just gonna be more meat, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it hard to revisit a lot of the moments, that on a project, when for instance, like when you're talking about your
Mhm.
nephew, talking about your nephew, like,
Yeah. Not. It's not really hard, because in many ways I'm still living it. And so a lot of the things that I express that are difficult, the sentiments may not be new to me anymore in the moment, but they're still very real to me in this moment. You know what I'm saying? And so, whether it be the struggles with my mother, in her health, or the struggles with, my children, like, or with me, internally, like, it's all still very present with me. And so, even though the album is written from a place and time, it translates across time. Like, there are songs on there that I wrote in 2019, that I listened back to them in 2024, thinking like, okay, well, does this still apply? Is this still meaningful to me? You know what I mean? And to this project. And it still was. But it meant something completely different to me, but it was still of value and substance, for me in that moment. And I'm like, whoa, wow, that's really dope. And I was thankful for that. And it kind of reaffirmed like, hey, no, trust it, put it out there, because it's still applicable today, even though you're not still necessarily in the exact same place. It's still relevant for me. And and you're an artist with a ton of music as well, and so I know you probably experienced that as well. Like, you'll go back and listen to something and be like, man, like, I actually needed to hear that for myself, right now, even though when I wrote it back then, I was in a different mind frame. I actually needed to hear that for myself. And so I have those little moments, sometimes too, when I do go back and, listen to it.
man, that's rich, bro. And I say this: buried treasure is still treasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buried treasure is still treasure. You know what I'm saying? So, like the album title, "The Flames Will Not Consume You." Like, where did that come? I mean, we know, but for the viewer, where
Yeah.
did that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's actually a good question, because that wasn't always the title to this album. Something I haven't shared really yet, but This album initially was going to be named Flying Fallen Skies, which, as somebody who's heard my first album, that's like the last official track on my first album, When Ravens Cry, is Flying Fallen Skies. And then there are, some bonus tracks after that. But this album was meant to pick up right after that, and that's why even it begins with kind of descent. You jumping down. It's like a downward spiral into, bloody waters. But it's, Flying Fallen Skies conceptually in drawing inspiration from the ark, and, sending the bird from the ark, to look for dry land. You know what I mean? And if you're flying over flooded water, the waters from the flood, there's death in that water. There's wrath in that water. So you look down, you fall into that water. It's bloody because there's death in there. And so it's kind of springboarding from that into this album. And so that was the initial title of it. But I changed the title to this because I was just, praying, reading, studying. And I read that entire chapter of Isaiah 43, and it connected with the themes, as I kind of went stanza by stanza. And when I got to that line, the flames will not consume you, it hit me because, I needed the reassurance and a reminder that, hey, it's hot, now you feel this, but I'm with you. I'm going to keep you just like I have kept, my children in the past, my people in the past. I'm with you now, and I'm going to keep you still, and so that's kind of how that happened. You know what I'm saying? But so it's a tale of two titles, really.
So, do you think you can use that the flying falling skies for another?
Nah, nah, because it's the same album. You feel me? Like it's not like the theme of it changed at all. It was just the title that changed because the title still matched exactly what I had already. It's just like I just didn't know this was the title yet until I got to it and read it. And so because this is still that album, so I wouldn't take that title and use it again because it'd be trying to recreate something again. But
That's cool. Well, I just want y'all to know, breaking news, Flying Falling Skies, all right, coming out this summer. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, bro, I mean, that's amazing, to be able to, first and foremost here, to be led by the word. I know that you're the brother that's studious, and in a time where a lot of music, and this is no shot to the younger generation, but how we consume music is
yeah,
we don't like to go deep when we're writing. A lot of time it's just, hey, you leave it up on the surface. It's nice,
yeah,
hey, a little sunshine and rainbows.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But when you get closer to the sun, you're gonna feel that fire, that heat. There's
yeah,
things that change,
yeah,
atmosphere. You know what I mean, changes. So it's
yeah.
that's the type of music, and I respect you 1,000%. I love that type of music. It's the balance that's needed, and a lot of artists here. Not saying a lot, but there's few who are staying in that place in that lane and saying, hey, that I want my content to be something that will last the test of time, regardless of where you are in life. That when you're older, that you may not like take it now, but there's going to be wisdom in
Hmm.
it. You come back to it. Like I
Yeah,
said, just the whole
yeah,
buried treasure concept in here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Man.
indeed, man. And I think, even with that, like, well, hey, thank you for that. But also with that, man, we need all of it. You know what I mean? Like we need all of the music can be, deep, or, trying to really scuba dive or give heavy, weighty stuff. We need everything. It all works together. We the body, man. It's like, and as individual artists, as somebody like yourself, you know what I mean, who has tracks that go across the whole spectrum. You know what I mean? Like you got tracks that you can cry to. You got tracks that we can dance to. We got tracks that are lighthearted and fun. You got all of that. You know what I'm saying? And so salute to everybody. You know what I mean? Like however you do it and you bring it to the table. Let's keep valuing each other no matter where you fall. You know what I'm saying, on that spectrum, because we all got things to bring to the table, and even as individuals, we don't always bring the same thing. You know what I mean, to the table each time. So yeah, appreciate
It
that.
would be nasty if everybody just bought potato salad. We just want
Yeah,
good. where the chicken.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
But how important is now? This is 19 records written over the
Yeah.
span of 5 years, 5 years,
Yeah.
5, 6 years,
5 to 6 years. Yeah.
five,
Yeah.
6 years. So how important was the sequencing and the narrative and the timeline of the album? Because
Yeah.
the storytelling is impeccable of how you line this up.
Yeah. It's very important, and really for me with projects, I kind of connect with music from a project perspective. So when I even hear like beats or I hear records that I connect with and track, I usually place them immediately within a narrative and within a soundscape. You know what I mean, for a project or a story that I'm working on. And so I very rarely just hear a dope beat and I just want to use it just one, in isolation. It's usually placed in somewhere already. And so I think my albums kind of reflect that when I heard this record, I heard it and connected with it and started creating with it to go after something and before something. And so as I'm creating it is with that from that point of view. And so I think that helps me when it comes time to sequencing because I don't have just 19 random tracks that I'm trying to figure out how they work together. I've kind of have a built-in sequencing that I'm doing as I'm creating the songs. And so that really helps. And I think that the order and how you lay out everything is important, because from a practical level, right, in terms of what's pleasing to the ear and what grabs people, but also even from a spiritual aspect too, and how we put together sermons or how we put together messages or how your worship team puts together the songs that they're going to sing to try to impact the people and edify and exhort the people. Sequencing matters in all aspects of kind of storytelling and art. And so I think that on this album, it kind of drives that point home, and when it is a record that's so long in this way, it's even more important, that the sequencing makes sense because a lot of times, people do have short attention spans when it comes to music, but they don't necessarily have short attention spans in general with entertainment, because we'll say that, oh no, they can't listen past 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or they don't want to hear an hour, but yet we literally will watch 10 hours of television in a row, binge watching a show, the same show in one weekend. We'll sit in a movie theater and watch a 3 hour movie from Marvel and go watch it again. So and don't get up for a bathroom break, by the way. So what does that tell me? You know what I'm saying? That people will listen. People do have the ability to pay attention if the art that they're being presented with stimulates them. You know what I mean? In some way, in the right way to make them want to continue through it. So it's challenging as a creative to find that place where, am I challenging the listener? Am I satisfying something different? Or does track one sound just like track seven? Right?
Mm.
And if track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sound the same way, then you shouldn't go to 19, right? It's no need. But the reason why we can stay engaged in other mediums is because it's hitting different senses for us. It's hitting our eyes, our ears, and our hearts in a lot of ways too. And so with music, you may not be hitting the eyes necessarily unless it's in an imagination because you're painting a picture. So finding ways to hit those different senses in sequencing has a lot to do with that. So
Okay, yeah, bro. And I mean, you touched on something I was going to actually bring about the length of the songs because we do exist
yeah,
in a time period where it's single driven, and it went from 3:30 to three
yeah,
to now 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and most of your songs are borderline like 5 minutes.
yeah,
So much. It got verse, bridge, hook, anthem, Bible study. You know what I mean? That's everything. But it's most definitely I was gonna say here, it's even the driving factor behind the music that you did state here is the art and the creativity to train the listener to appreciate more, to get more out there
yeah,
here. But even like songs like Sunset, Reprise, that's 10 minutes of the album, just right there
Yeah.
between those two. Now the songs uncover a lot of low moments and doubts.
Mhm.
Essentially, that encompasses a lot of the Job theme as well. Now, where are you now with some of those burdens and the things that you had to work through the records like Sunset and the Reprise?
Yeah, yeah. So really trusting God, trusting God. I'm still where I ended, that song. Whereas, just a trusting God and trusting not only him for salvation and his righteousness and carrying me in that way, but also depending on him. You know what I mean? When I don't have the not just the answers, because sometimes I do have the answers. It's just I don't like them. So trusting him, trusting him to comfort me, in those moments where I'm hurt, and to give me wisdom to discern what is the right way to go. You know what I mean, and how to walk through and bear this thing. It's a dependency on God day by day, and asking Him to work in me and on me and in my heart. A constant taking things to Him. You know, just for strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I need him in a very real way, and so I'm thankful that I was able to work through a lot of these things in the album, because it was like a proverbial weight lifted to just be able to express it. You know what I mean? To get it out and take my issues to God, even my issues with God, to God, and to go to him with everything that I have to say, everything that I have to feel. And he's been gracious to me, man. Like, God has been gracious, and God has been merciful. He is merciful to me. And so I'm strengthened, bro. I'm encouraged to carry my cross and take it a day at a time, brother. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to save the world, or, travel to 50 different continents, to 50 different countries to, spread this message. But I need this message going into the inner being of my soul, you know what I mean? And to take root into my heart, and to out of my heart come into my home and touch every aspect of my house, and from my house to my local community and my church ministry, and then from there to my city, and outside of that, then we'll see what the Lord will do. And just being content with that working of the Lord in my life, because I need him like that, bro. And I'm thankful that he's with me, and you still have your down moments like we all do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a cakewalk, because even after you have those epiphanies or those moments where you do have weight shifted or lifted, you get a knock on the door and it's something else. Hello, next trial coming right on up for you, and once we live a little bit longer, we know it's coming. Something else is coming, but we can be thankful and know that he's with us. And the last one taught me the him keeping me in the furnace to teach me when the lion's den is coming up, that he's gonna keep me again. David said he delivered the lion to me, the bear to me out there in the field. So this giant, he was educated by God's providence in the past for the future thing, that he was about to take on. And it's that same thing for me. Like, I know he's kept me through this, he's kept me through that, and he'll keep me again, because the next thing is coming. It is coming. It's a needing him now and knowing I'm gonna need him again, in the future. So it's a striving, you know what I mean? And he's gracious.
Mm. Every head bowed and all eyes closed. Boy, you got to preaching, boy. Yo, man, but yeah. So I mean, that's phenomenal, bro. Now, you said a lot. You know what I'm saying, but it's heavy, and when you drop a project that's heavy like this, what is it that you hope the listener gets from it? Of course, Jesus, that there's hope
Yeah.
in despite, but is like what is it that you desire for the listener to get if they never listen to you a day in their life?
Yeah. To several things. It's a couple of things, but I'll share a couple of them. Number one, just that God is with us, and that the presence of struggle in our life is not evidence that he's not with us. When things don't turn out the way that you thought they would. And the opposite happens of what you thought God's blessing was for your life. It doesn't mean that he is not with you, that he is with you because he said he would be, period. Your circumstances may change, but his truth is not. He is with you. Go to him when you're struggling. Go to him when you're angry. Go to him when you're upset. And he'll be with it right there with you. And he'll give you every single thing that you need, from resource to strength, to community. He will give you everything that you need, because in him is everything that we need, that he's truly our source and our strength. So I pray that people walk away feeling encouraged, to continue on, to take it a day at a time, man, to just keep walking, to keep pressing, like endure to the end. That's our prime, like our objective individually as believers. Of course, as a whole, we want to go out and make disciples, but individually, we want to endure. We want to endure. We want to honor God with our lives. So I pray that people walk away encouraged to endure, and that it's hard, it's difficult, and it's in life is hard, but God is with us. And to find peace in him being with us, find enjoyment in him being with us, and have that be satisfaction for us, him being with us, And so I think from an overall perspective, that's what I would want people to take away, knowing that he's with us, and it's by his mercy, that we are not consumed. And from an artistic standpoint, as a musician, I want people to walk away knowing that, man, I gave, you know what I mean? Like, like it's okay to just to give of yourself and to bring your authentic self to the table, and just create as it comes to you, to put it together, to package it up, work hard on it, and then put it out there and release it. You know what I mean? Like, it don't need to sound like anything else. It needs to sound like you. And it's gonna land where it lands. But you can be yourself, and you can be you, and you're not handicapped by anything. Like, you can be what you want to be artistically. You know what I mean? And that I hope that people, when they walk away from my album from a sonic perspective, they say, oh, that's not like anything else. Like, I may not want to listen to this 50 times because this is a 90-minute listen. But when I listen through this thing from top to bottom, there's nothing else like this, in the world. This is something that's unique and that's authentic, that I know somebody worked hard on to present something, to A, God, and B, to his people. You know what I'm saying? So I pray all of that translates, man, that, from an artistic standpoint, from a spiritual, standpoint, all of that good stuff, man. So yeah.
Amen. All right, so this is just for this very cool. We got 5 minutes left. But all right, so are there any new songs that's been birthed, like from your current season? Like, are there ideas, things that you're crafting going into like the new season as you're working in?
Yeah. So I think always, man, as a creative, man, this, like, we're always creating stuff, even if we don't put stuff out, it's coming out of us because it's a part of who we are. And so for me, I'm always creating from where I am currently, just because it's a part of my process. It's a part of my devotion. It's a part of my worship. It's a part of my reasonable service. It's a part of who I am, creating music in this way. So there's always songs, man. There's always new stuff in the works, man. I'm looking forward to being able to share, some new stuff sooner rather than later.
Hope it ain't taking another 5 years.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Lord willing, there will be a consistent flow for the foreseeable future. Of course, Lord willing, but that is the goal and the plan that we are working from, to have a higher level of output, and all the songs won't be 5 minutes long. Every project won't be, 19 songs long and super long, right? Because you don't need everything to be a movie, and you don't need every movie to be, a tearjerker. You know what I'm saying? So it won't be the same, but it will be me and authentically me all the same.
Right. Okay. So if you had 60 seconds to pitch one song to somebody from the album and say this was the only song that you could have listened to get them to buy the album, what song would that be?
Sunset. And I say Sunset, but really it's Sunset and the Reprise, because that's really just one song. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. That's one song that I split in two so that people can navigate them in a track list. So Sunset and Sunset Reprise, just because of how meaningful it was for me to do it, and the impact that it had on me.
Word. Okay. Word. Well, it is, as I did state here, man, said one of the most critically acclaimed album. You know what I'm saying? If it came out like right at the tail end of the last year, and a lot of people still had it in their album of the year contendership list because it's just that good. You know what I'm saying? If you have not gotten a chance to listen, tell them where they can stream it at, and where they can buy it at. If people still buy records like they still buy records.
A couple of people do. Yeah, some people do. Absolutely. And so you can reach me on everything from, IG, Facebook, TikTok, and my website at Jeremiah Bligen. So just my name.com. You can purchase my music on my website. You can stream my music on my website. You can also access all of your DSPs. So if you got Apple Music or Spotify, you can go to those things and just search Jeremiah Bligen. That's like Mary J. Blige with an N at the end, right? Bligen. And just look it up that way and check it out. And if you have any thoughts about it, reach out to me, talk to me about it. I'd definitely love to hear from the people, and chop it up about the record, man. And so I appreciate Rapzilla for sure, for showing the album love, you know what I mean, for promoting it and talking about it, and shining a little bit of light, on it. And so I appreciate that. So big salute to Rapzilla, big salute to you, Cutright. I appreciate you, my brother. Value what you do as an artist as well, but also as a creative in general. So salute to you as well. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we got 1 minute left. In this 1 minute, I want to do two things. One, what was your first rap name, brother? Like, what was your? Because you
Oh my,
blind. What's your first rap name?
gosh. Hell, you want my first Christian rap name?
First, yeah, what's the first Christian rap
rap-
name?
My
JB?
first Christian rap name was King David. There's some people right now who call me King David when I see them. It's funny
There you go.
because
50,
that's how they met me.
50 million King Davids. All right, okay, yeah. So that's the most Christian rap name.
It
ever.
is. It really is.
48
Hey,
disciple. You know what I'm saying?
I
Listen,
was 17. I was 17 and I picked that name. After that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go by my name because I'm not creative enough to come up with a super cool name. So I'm gonna just go ahead and stick with the one that my mama gave me, and we gonna rock with that one.
yeah, that worked out best, bro. All right. So
Yeah,
listen,
indeed.
in the last couple seconds, I just need you to do something on camera. I need you to repent for talking all that jazz, talking about juvenile high is the best.
Oh my gosh, get out of here, bro.
Juvenile
Get
high
out of
is
here,
trash,
bro.
bro. I just
We
want to
don't
say,
tolerate juvenile disrespect, bro.
bro, it's
Nah.
trash, bro. It's trash.
Nah, the content is trash. I will amen that one. But we in the South do not tolerate 400 degree slander.
Bro,
Not
it's gonna be
creative.
400 degrees in hell. It's 400. Time 400.
This is true. This is true. And so the content, big thumbs down.